Okay, it's pretty early. Let's see who we can catch. Pretty early, and the glasses are pretty dirty. Okay, we're going to continue on painting these row houses that seem to take a long time to do, which they do. All right, I believe we need to do the molding here at the top of these. 2, 3, 4, maybe about a dozen of these. So we're going to need to get the usual suspects. And again, this isn't all the way up. I don't know why this defaults to anything other than the brightest setting. All right, we're going to need black here and a little bit of black. Doesn't take a whole lot. Who was on here last Sunday? Oh, we just skipped one day. That's not too bad. Thought I was slacking there or something. It's just one day. I think we use this as a base. I'm going to go ahead and use a different color. I'm going to use something that when I thin it down a little bit, it's got a little bit more pigment in it. All right, so let's go ahead and do the darkest this will ever be. It's funny because stuff that you paint with craft paint tends to look better than the stuff that you don't, because it's just so darn flat. Because the pigments are expensive. Craft paint has as few pigments as they can get away with, because it's keep the cost down. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure that's the reason why. And therefore, the filler is flat. So in that respect, it looks a lot more like the finished product than other things that you do, because the other things that you do, you end up like sealing it and making it flat, when sometimes you get some semi-gloss type colors to it. So in places. Four people, everybody woke up. Anybody from the UK? Any UKers? Any UCks out there? The people, you got the people from under the stairs, and you got the people from across the pond. If the Atlantic is a pond, is the Pacific a lake? Or that's just a bigger pond? Well, we were supposed to get some rain today, but it looks like it didn't happen again. So I know some of you guys are probably can't wait for it to stop raining, but I don't think we've gotten rain here in a month. And 100+ degree days. So it's stifling hot and dry. But now we got home and we washed up. I'm gonna go ahead and warn you guys. There's not going to be any weekend shows this coming weekend. I'm going to be surrounded by salt water, hopefully. So just have to wait until the following week. Okay, and then the ones on this part of the building. Well, how did we get that? I came across a post on, I think it was on Facebook in the last couple days, and it was something along the lines. I don't remember what group it was on, but it was one of those that I had a picture of a comic book. I had a picture of an advertising on a comic book. It said, "Any of you guys ever get these?" And it's that whole, I think what's it called, an army in a footlocker, right? You for like $1.97 or something like that. It wasn't even a full $1.99. For like $1.97 plus shipping, you could get like however many soldiers or something like that. And I clicked on it because I remember those advertisements in there. I really wasn't into comic books, but I remember seeing those. And everybody's comment was pretty much that they were very disappointed. If you got a hold of them, you were very disappointed because they were basically like flats. They're basically plastic flats, two-dimensional figures. And then I clicked on a link, and a guy had done like almost like an unboxing of something. We're talking like this stuff's been around for a long time. I didn't see them until the '80s. Sea monkeys and all that stuff in the back, but the figures you get like comes with tanks and airplanes. The tanks are like freaking. They're like a joke. It's like here's your tank, and it's that thin. It stands up. It's a silhouette of a tank. It's like if you look up false advertising in the dictionary, it should be a picture of that. The only thing I've gotten free through the mail that I can think of is when I used to build models. I used to, here in the United States, we built those MPC models, which are nothing more than rebranded Airfix. Not only they rebranded Airfix, they're reboxed also, so they have different artwork as well. And I don't know, I had probably a half dozen ships and planes and tanks and stuff like that. And on those, on the side of the box, were these little coupons, and they were either stripes, like a sergeant stripes for the army stuff, a pair of wings, almost looked like the little wing thing that like an airline. Remember those things that would give you as a kid? I don't know if they still do those. Give you a little airline thing, you pin it through your shirt, or little anchors for the naval stuff, and you'd get this catalog, and if you had to turn in, I don't know what it was, 12 or who knows what it was, you'd get a free ship. I did get a free ship. I want to say that's how I got the Prince Eugen. I got some ship because I had the Bismarck and Ark Royal and Repulse, Prince Eugen, Exeter, Graf's Bay. Maybe Ajax. They made Ajax also. I don't think they made any destroyers. I don't think the MPC made any destroyers. The Airfix, I think, does make a destroyer. This is all 1/600 scale. And it was before waterline. I would have loved for them in waterline, but you had to go build this hull that you're never going to see. Unless the ship capsizes. And then there's like a ledge up here. We're going to paint that gray as well. No, we're not going to get bogged in that right now. Nice thumbnail. Well, that's the fastest I could think of. Thanks, man. We're getting there. It takes a long time, but it's not a surprise to me that it takes a long time. The next one I'm going to do is really short. That's why that city block is going to take forever. Just one side is just, but it'll take as long as it takes. So, yeah, this guy had done this video, was talking about, anybody have one of these? And everybody describes, yeah, I ordered those things from a comic book, and man, I've never been so disappointed as a kid. And I'm like, I saw what it was. The figures honestly weren't that bad. I mean, yes, they sucked, but at least they were, flat. But a tank that's just totally flat like this, it almost looks like something you'd line up at 50 yards and you try to hit it with your BB gun or something, It almost looked like that's absurd. But no, I never got any of those. But I remember being as a kid, there was this big toy store that was, I don't know if they were tied in with like Toys R Us, because both of them had their logo, their spokesperson or their logo creature was a kangaroo. Though before Toys R Us, obviously it was, what's his name? Jeffrey. The spokesperson for the other one was called oh shit, I had a tip on my tongue. Lionel Playworld. And that was like the Toys R Us before Toys R Us was around. I don't know if one took over from the other one but anyhow, they had this play set that was the Guns and Averone. And of course, the whole mountain with the cannon and everything. It didn't look like anything that was on the movie. I mean, it was like lame. First of all, the cannon was freaking yellow. I don't mean, yellow like this. I mean yellow like this. Well, they had to paint it that color because somebody might actually confuse that with a real gun, and you could have like a situation. No, not in the 1970s and 80s, and it's probably older than that. But anyways, I always wanted that. I don't remember it being some ridiculous amount back then, like $100 or something like that. I wasn't gonna get that. But it was like the whole fucking mountain, big ass thing. I remember the box being huge. Nope, never got that. And now look at it now. I came across it, and I'm like, that's a piece of shit. I mean, it's like things are, when you're a kid, things are trash. Of course, there's people that think that way. Guns and Averone. I think I've looked at it. It's like Baby My Marks, and I don't remember that as a kid because it would have really caught my attention. Why is a communist making a playset? But I don't know. Maybe they subbed it out to somebody else. But I remember that being all the way at the top of the shelf. I'm like, man, I really wanted that. Like, no, it's just kind of money that we didn't have. But it's silly. The guns are yellow. They weren't next to each other. One was above the other. They were different sizes. It's like they were just cashing in on the name. That has happened in one of those movies as a kid that I watched, 14 times or something like that. You guys gotten a lot of rain in Texas, depending on where in Texas you are. We just can't seem to get any here. Haven't been painting much, been writing a lot for job and blog. San Antonio hasn't gotten much. I was surprised. I think it's San Antonio that I was thinking of. The population in San Antonio was 117 last week. Wow. San Antonio is like the 10th most populated city in the United States or something like that. I was like, what? And Houston's like 4 or something like that. I was like, what? Yeah, when we landed back in the U.S., we couldn't wait to eat something normal like barbecue. Yeah, ready for normal food again. To the top here, I'm gonna get a refill on my drink. Writing for blog. What's your blog on? Is it a work blog? I hope not. You hate living here. Where are you from originally? I could think of a lot worse places to live than Texas. Like a lot worse. Um, at least Texas has the best looking flag. It's something. Is that Riverwalk pretty cool, or is it just a tourist trap? Riverwalk sucks. I'm from San Antonio. I like it here, but maybe out of the city more. The Riverwalk sucks. You might enjoy it though. I don't like drunk people. I don't like drunk people that misbehave. Um, I like drinking, but I don't behave like an idiot. I behave better. Okay, I will be right back. I can't imagine wearing cowboy boots. I still do. Like, I went to we had a job that was in the Houston area, man. People have a hard on for cowboy boots there. My blog is about tabletop games, independent kaiju movies, and my dev blogs for whatever I'm drawing or painting. You like to write? Because I certainly don't. I haven't brought that up before. I like sharing info. I just don't. I don't like writing. And anytime I sent to multiple people, I get reminded why I don't like writing because nobody's listening. Nobody's listening to you. You know, people will like glance at, yeah, this is what he says, or takes things out of context. It's just frustrating, you know? When I was in school, people didn't do a good job of instilling organizational skills in writing. So, you know, but you see it all the time. People are writing stuff and nobody's listening to what they have to say. But, you know, maybe it helps you, like I get my creativity out doing this. Maybe you're writing to get it all, you know, so it doesn't explode inside of you. You like to write a lot. No one really reads my blog, just a few friends. I just did an interview. I did just interview someone that is pretty well known and has a popular animated short. I probably don't know who they are. I don't. I haven't found animated stuff that I really care for. Um, I'm sure it's out there, but like anything that's animated that I think that I could animate better than that I could draw better than them, I'm not interested in it. I mean, I'm not a terrible artist, but I'm not. It's not honed. You know, I haven't. I used to draw a lot when I was a kid, but you know, not like my dad. My dad was a freaking great artist. Like, he didn't do that for a living, but he's like, "Hey, Dad, draw me a shark," and he'd draw it on a napkin. You'll be at a, would be at a restaurant or something like that. Um, I guess if I'd continued to do that instead of this, maybe I would have gotten better. But um, my blog is like my resume since my job is an SEO content writer. He's really interesting. He uses 3D animation to imitate stop motion and suitimation kaiju films. It's really cool. Can you have a kaiju without it being Japanese, or is it just Japanese monsters? Uh oh. I just did something, and what you have written stayed on the screen. It didn't disappear after 5 seconds. I like that. I don't know what I did. I didn't do anything other than I'm not going to touch it. Hopefully, you'll type something and see if that stays on there. That's why if you see me reaching, that's what happens. It times out after about 5 seconds. It disappears. Now, I'm not a technology guy. SEO. We have a position for you as a CEO. Awesome. I want to run the place. No, SEO. Sorry. It's probably more enjoyable than being a CEO. Well, it's something you type something else didn't scroll up. I think there's some North Korean monster film, and that's considered kaiju. Okay, so like the Kraken from not Raiders of the Lost Ark, Clash of Titans is not a kaiju. That Joker's big. The remake, that Joker's big. It's like, here's your town, the monster's this big. I mean, like, you better hope he doesn't have diarrhea. That's all I'm saying. North Korean monster. There's a North Korean monster that Kim Jong, whatever his name is, would get jealous. Kim Jong Dong. The Kraken's a mythological creature, but I don't know how that's different from a kaiju. My heartburn feels like a kaiju from time to time. Now all the words disappeared. Damn technology. I wonder what the dumbest kaiju is that's ever come up with. There's got to be some kaiju that's terrible. Just like there's terrible college mascots. There's some college mascots that just somebody should be in prison for even of suggesting some of those things. Progress Lost. Are you an Alfred Hitchcock film? You mean, do you like them? There's some pretty bad kaiju. Look up Red Man, Green Man, or God Man. I will. I will do that right now. I have seen a few. I haven't seen them in a long time. I have seen probably 7 of them. I've not seen them in a long time other than Rear Window. And Rear Window is superb. It's the only one I've seen more than once. I think I've seen it 3 times. I showed it to my daughter. I thought it was an excellent film. She was bored. She didn't really like it. I liked it because it was elegant and it showed something without showing something. I don't know if that makes any sense, but now, everything's a gore fest now. But sometimes things imagined are just classier, There was a show that was recommended to me by a friend of mine that said, hey, you probably really like that show. And it's kind of in the same vein. Rear Window is one I like. It has Raymond Burr. Does it? Oh, is he the culprit? No, he's not the culprit. The only other Hitchcock film I saw was Psycho. I've never seen Psycho. Why? That's right, because it's black and white. But I have seen other black and white ones. Is it? Okay, yeah. He's the guy that doesn't look well. Yeah, he's got the thick glasses all the way across the street. Yeah, that was pretty stressful when he was coming across the street. I'm saying it's just elegant because it's like it shows stuff and nothing's really happened. It's not like it leaves something for the imagination. I was going to say there was a show, and I think it was on Hulu, and they had 2 or 3 seasons of it, and it's called something like The Booth in the Back or something like that. The Booth at the End or something. You really enjoyed every minute. My girlfriend didn't. It was too slow for her. She just didn't have a thing for Grace Kelly. That's a beautiful woman. Just saying. Anyhow, The Booth in the End, something like that. It stars the guy from 24. What's his name? Xander Berkeley, who's the main character of it. And basically, it all takes place in a diner. and they did like a couple seasons of it or whatever. So he's a guy who's sitting at the booth in the end. He's this guy, and he's got this book, and he just sits there at this diner all the time. And so it's like a really low budget production, but I think it's excellent. So these people come to him with different problems, like I have a kid. I'm just making this one up because I don't remember exactly what it was. But hey, I hear you can solve problems. Well, I can help people, whatever. He's just kind of vague, but he's got this book, and people explain what their problem is to him, and then he, like I got my kid, and he can't walk, or he can't do this, or and they explain. You spend 30 seconds or something like that, or a minute explaining what the situation is, and he opens this book, which you never see what's written on it, flips a couple pages, finds something in there, and says, you got to kill another kid, or something like that. So it's always kind of like this morality question. So it's almost like, what are you willing to do to solve your problem? And sometimes the stories interlock. Like one of the people that will come to him is somebody who needs to murder another kid. And then one of the other people has a kid that ends up being the one that gets murdered. I mean, it's just, you have those it's really, really interesting. So it's like, it makes you think. So I thought it was really good. And it shows no violence. Stuff happens, and you don't see, there's no blood or anybody strangling somebody else. It's all very it's very classy. It's done very, very well. It's probably even more hands off than a Hitchcock film. I highly recommend it. I think you'd like it. I really think you would. It's cool. It's worth a watch. So you'll have like every episode is like I want to say it's like 40 minutes long, and there's like 6 to 8 characters that come in, and they interact, and they have different interactions, and it makes you think. It makes you think like what are you willing to do? What's it's just cool. And it never really explains what his character is. Is he the devil? Not really, but I mean, he might not have any power at all. He might just be some guy there, whatever. So it has no supernatural spooky shit, which if it did, I probably wouldn't want to watch it, because then you can't go to sleep at night, But I think it's super interesting. Sometimes there's some folks that recommend things that are just like, they kind of know what you like. And let's see if I can find out exactly what it's called. And then I'm going to look at that Red Man, God Man, or whatever the hell that was. The Booth at the End. Something like that. It's called The Booth at the End. Yep. And it's free on Tubi right now. And looks like there was 2 seasons. Yeah. So the tagline on it is, an apparently random group of strangers each enter into a Faustian pact. You should know what that is. Even I know what that is. With a mysterious figure whom they believe possesses the power to grant any wish. Yeah, I highly recommend it. Right from the description here. This psychological drama features a mysterious man known simply as the Man, who sits in a booth at the end of a diner. People come to the man seeking favors, parents looking for their sick children to be cured, or women who want to be prettier among them. The man can fulfill these requests for a price. In order to do with what they want, he requires the people to sacrifice their morals and to do deeds they would normally consider to be inconceivable. So it's like Saw without all the violence. No, it's nothing like Saw. Among the tasks the man assigns are setting off bombs, robbing banks, and even killing children. You see none of it. So it's not like you got to have a strong stomach. No. It all takes place in the diner. After performing the task, the person must return to the diner to describe to the man how it went, detailing every step. But the man never forces anyone to do anything. It's always up to them to decide whether or not to do the task he assigns them, leaving them to decide how far they will go to get what they want. And looks like it ran 2 years, 2011 and 2012. I highly recommend it. It was recommended to me, and it was a home run as far as I'm concerned, and unique compared to anything else out there. So, yeah, it makes you think. And that's what I hate about television is you're just like a zombie, like, But when you're like, oh man, that kind of stuff opens the pores in your brain. I love the thumbnail for this. Rick, go check out that show. Well, I don't know what you like to watch. You might like to watch SpongeBob or something like that. So, I can't think of any of those. I can't think of any of those shows that I have tried watching that I care for. Whether it's Futurama, The Simpsons, any of those things, it's just like the art is so bad that I'm like, why am I watching this? You saw a Japanese 4-episode miniseries and it took place all in a newsroom after a 8.0 earthquake. Wow. I think my girlfriend would like this plot. I think I will like it because it was all filmed in a diner. And it's not done crappily. It's well done. And it doesn't need to have anything other than the diner part. It's like succinct. You're a sucker for Futurama. Yeah. You can draw better than Futurama, though. I bet. I put money on it. I know one person in particular who loves South Park. And I'm like, it's terrible. The art is horrendous. And they'll say, oh, it's supposed to look that way. Okay, Picasso. No, Picasso was a good artist. He just decided to draw him that way as a challenge. Like I said, I could make it to the bathroom, but it might be more entertaining to just have my shit my pants right here. You work at SNHU. I don't know what that is. And they pronounce it snoo, like that snoo episode on Futurama. South Park isn't about art, it's the jokes. Well, hell, I could do some of those. What are we doing for Father's Day? I'm going to be on a cruise. We're going to be on a cruise next week. We're going to go on the shortest cruise we've ever been on. It's a 5-dayer. We've always done week-long cruises. And it's a new cruise line, Virgin, where everything's red. That's their thing. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Don't think I'll find any Virgin on the cruise. Like the Virgin Islands. None there. You're writing a TTRPG scenario about players on a cruise. They have a game convention that's on a cruise, but it's on some carnival shrimp boat that you wouldn't want to go on. I think it's on a tiny ass old ship, and I don't like gamers. I like people to play games, but I don't like gamers. How can you name an NPC? Oh, thing. So I went somewhere I had not been in a long time over the weekend. You mean prison? No. Target. I don't know. We needed to pick something up. I haven't been to Target in a long time. I was actually a fan of Target when we got one. And then they had this reimagining, I'm going to say 10 years ago. Okay? I don't know if I'm wrong, whatever. Well, they started adding groceries. And I didn't like the store since then. It's like they try to cover too much, so they don't have much of a selection, different stuff. But anyhow, their clothes and stuff went sideways because they carried groceries. Like they had less space for the other stuff. But anyways, I digress. So I was falling asleep. We just had lunch. I was falling asleep on Sunday. So I'm like, well, I'm going to go have a Starbucks there. And, get my usual, which is just big, black, and cold, no sweetener in it. And they don't have they don't have a little app there. They do have the app, but you don't order it ahead or anything like that. So they ask you for your name. And I said, oh, my name's Tony. And the girl behind the counter says, how do you spell that? Okay, so let me back up. For every female Tony there's got to be at least 1,000 male Tonys. And I don't know any male Tony that spells it there's only one way to spell Tony if if you don't sit down to pee. It's like, Rick, how do you spell that? What, 2 Ks? No C? I mean, Tony, that's right. There's your sign. I don't think I've ever encountered a female Tony. They might be out there, but I bet there's 1,000 male Tonys for each female Tony. And they probably spell it with an I. Next time somebody says that, I'm going to say, how do you spell CZ? CZ, yeah, it's silent. It's Polish. It's this Polish spelling. CZT. If you can't spell Tony, then you need to. I got one the other day and it said Tom. Like Tony, Tom. No. 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 Yeah, do the Polish spelling. I always give my name as carry my sack. Is the S or the C silent in scent? Oh. I worked all day. You're making I'm like, it's the S. No, maybe it isn't. Maybe they're both silent. We'll just call it ent. Is the S or the C silent in scent? I don't know. The smell could give it away. What's the dumbest thing you've been asked? I know that's difficult because you probably have to type a lot. One of the dumbest things that's ever happened that I've encountered, easily top 10, and there's a ton of them that have happened, but easily top 10. I was at work. There's lots of dumb things that happen at work. So without going into detail, this guy was delivering something. He was in a delivery truck, and he was like delivering like some PVC pipes or something like that at work. And he comes into the office and he says, "Hey, I need to be offloaded for this delivery I'm making." I'm like, "All right, I'll call somebody to you." And then he says, "Can I get some paperwork?" I said, "What are you talking about?" "I need some paperwork for the stuff I'm delivering." I'm like, "What? You want me to give you a delivery ticket for the delivery that you're making that you should have a delivery ticket for? You know what? Let's go to a drive-through window, and when I drive through there, I will tell the person inside, when I come up to the microphone, I'll tell the person working inside the store what they'll have." What mental... I just, that's one of the craziest things that's ever happened. That makes no sense. And the really disappointing part is, We don't have all, America does not have all the stupid people in the world. Nope, there's plenty of them everywhere else. I thought it was just an American phenomenon that we got last pick and we got all the dumbasses. Nope, they're everywhere. That's one of those things I'm never going to forget. What's this? We've got an update for you. No, I am not going to go to Windows 11. Go fly a kite up your ass. I will never update to Windows 11 thanks to the 64-bit apocalypse that I encountered about 10 years ago on the iPad. We had an iPad that we were using for games and stuff. It was during the period where I didn't have a computer that worked. Mine had crapped out and any games. I had several games on the iPad. I think it was the original iPad. And then like, oh, do this update. And this update basically turned everything from 64-bit. And in a nutshell, I couldn't use any of the games that I had purchased ever again because the update, they weren't supported in the update. They didn't want to reformulate the whole game in 64-bit instead of 32. And lost them. So I'm like, all right, not going to screw me like that again. So I don't need Windows 11. I don't really use my computer for much. I was using it mainly to film this, but ever since it had a moo cow or disconnected on you guys, we don't need that drama. I guess I wouldn't make it as a comedian because I don't make up stories. I guess they probably all do. Or embellish them. Just wait till AI is fully implemented. Well, as long as it doesn't shoot back. And people want that stuff. People want cars that drive themselves and shit like that. I don't. I got trust issues. If a car drove itself, it'd probably drive like some of those dumbasses I encounter every day. I encountered several of them just today. I was on my way to work, and I'm famous for going the speed limit, but I get up to the speed limit as quick as I can, right? Because you can't drive as fast as you want and you get a ticket. But nothing says you can't get up to 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. So I do. And I'm already going around, and somebody pulls out in front of me, and they decide to, be disrespectful and run like 30 miles an hour. Slowly go up to 30 miles an hour. All right. I know where you live, asshole. It's just disrespectful. If you're pulling on to the merging traffic, it's your responsibility to make sure that you're not holding anybody up, especially when there's plenty of space behind me. I really like AI using every day, I really like AI using every day, almost all day, but it's really going to cause headaches for the non-tech folks, I think. I don't know. I used it the other day for, what did I do? What's that thing called? Chat GPT or something like that? And I'm like, let's see how this works. So I typed in French resistance World War II scenarios. It gave me legitimate stuff. I mean, it gave me things that, are legitimate. You know, my job does not use it. No. No. It can use it after I'm gone for all I care. I don't care. We got so many problems with the human error as it is. Our biggest problem is communication. Something changes, something, say for instance, doesn't get made, or there's a problem with it and nobody gets notified. And then when we go to try to send it out, there's a hang up and we're not able to send everything. And then we got to make an extra delivery or something like that. You got to make a decision at that point. Like, okay, do you cancel at the last minute or you just eat it? And we end up eating it. Happens all the time. You know, and the stuff sits around a week before it gets made because it's got a cure. So, like, hey, if you tell us like a week in advance, or 4 days, or 3 days in advance, or hell, even 2 days in advance that something isn't ready, we can adjust. But when you're putting it on the truck and you can't find it, just shit like that. It's just, you know, it's always been the case. It's always going to be the case. You know, it can piss you off. You can quit or you can just fucking deal with it. You know, that's what it is. Only 15 more years. And I don't know if it's the same place everywhere, but it just seems like people don't get fired anymore for not doing their job. You know, we went to a restaurant about a month ago, and it was a steak restaurant, and they my wife had ordered as a side a baked potato, and they bring her steak out and it has no baked potato. So we're waiting for them to come out. It'll be just any minute. They didn't come out for 20 fucking minutes. So my wife was done with it, and it's like, and the waiter's attitude, I know it's not his fault, but he just had this laissez-faire. He was like this smirky punk that just basically said something along the lines of, well, that's what happens when you come and eat here. Like, who the fuck says something like that? And why do they still employ him? Just shit like that, you know? It's just like, um, anyhow. What do you got to do to get it fired? You know, you have to rape the boss's daughter or something like that. You know, working with a lot of druggies. That's what we need. More people on marijuana. More zombies. That'll turn this country around. Hey, if you're going to do drugs, do coke. That way you can get all your work done in one afternoon. Be more efficient. That way you can make things wrong and then fix them again before a normal person would make them right the first time. All right. Everyone will have John Belushi noses. I don't know that I've seen that many movies with him. I never really cared for him. I've seen Blues Brothers and I've seen 1941, and that may be it that I can think of. No, I've never seen the college movie. I never have. When it came out, I wasn't old enough to watch it, and so much time passed, it probably wouldn't even be that funny. No. Um, I guess he was like a Chris Farley that wasn't as clumsy. Okay, I think we need to bring this up one level. So let's get some white out here. And I'm going to commit the cardinal sin of scooping some of this out. Get some of this sour cream. That's what it looks like. It has a smell, but it doesn't at the same time. I haven't seen that much with him, but his nose today is trippy. Yeah, it was a little before my time. I never watched Fast Time at Ridgemont High until about a year ago. Well, it wasn't on, and I couldn't watch when I was a kid. It was 1982, so I would have been 11. I didn't have any older brothers. And I'm like, this is what everybody's raving about? Okay. Oh, it's Artie Lang with the nose, with a Coke nose. My bad. Oh, you're slinging around a lot of names. I'm not sure I know who that is. Or maybe I do know him. I just don't know him by name. Well, this is how we get educated. We look things up. Oh, geez, what happened to him? I've heard the name before. Mad TV. I've saw Mad TV. Mad TV has some funny shit. Oh, he does kind of look like Belushi a little bit. At least in that picture. Except he's probably still alive. He didn't do as much coke. Does coke make your nose big? I don't know. I really don't. I don't know. That wasn't on Narcos Mexico, so therefore I don't know about it. Everything I know about drugs I learned on Narcos by watching Narcos Mexico. That's not too far from the truth. Liquor, on the other hand, I could say I've never done anything really stupid with liquor. Like, felt like I was 10 foot tall and bulletproof. I'm like, I'm just enjoying the corner. You have enough to drink, the corner is interesting, you know. Have I seen the original Wicker Man? I have not seen, is that my Indian name, Tony? The original Wicker Man. No, I haven't even seen the second Wicker Man. The second one has the Italian dude, right? The nobody without the Italian name. And his Pan is a terrible movie. That's all I know about it. The original Wicker Man. That's basically a Gaelic version of a bronze bull, right? A Wicker Man. Wicker. I've not seen. I've seen neither one of the two. How old is it? It's not black and white, is it? Edward Woodward that's the Bond chick from Man with the Golden Gun. I don't Edward Woodward. That name sounds familiar. 1973. Citizen Kane of horror movies. Okay, I'm not going to read anything else. I've actually never seen Citizen Kane, which is always the number one movie. I'm not going to read anything else. Please do not spoil. I'm going to try and find it. That, where is it available? Prime Video. Well, I'm not going to pay for it. There's enough free things to watch. Christopher Lee. I don't like Christopher Lee. And I know that he's a war hero and lots of people like him. I wouldn't want to leave him with my kids. I don't know. He just seems, I don't really care for him. Sorry, I can't like everybody. Um, and to be honest with you, I haven't seen any of his early stuff. So maybe he looked um, different. I don't want to read the synopsis. No, no. This is. I'll find this creative, entertaining, and tragic. Okay, I'm not gonna. Nope, nope, nope. Nothing else. I'm gonna watch it. The original one. The Wicker Man. Especially since you give me good suggestions. The Wicker Man. Or maybe you're telling me, oh, did you ever watch it? No, it's terrible. Well, we'll see what you have to say right now. Don't watch one with Nicolas Cage, okay? That's the Italian dude that I couldn't remember what his name is. Yes, he's an Itai. I've never seen Citizen Kane. It's black and white, yeah. It's always number one of the best movies ever. I'm like, okay. Maybe I'll get around to watching it one day. And I'm just not a fan of some of. I don't mind old movies, but some movies can be too old. You like the movie a lot. Okay, I'm definitely going to check it out. I'm definitely going to check it out. And I'm okay with horror as long as it's not supernatural or it's not, I've seen all the Saw movies, so, I can handle that kind of stuff. Um, Talk about a disappointment. It was like 3 years ago when I finally saw, not more than 5 years ago when I finally saw The Shining. I'll never get those 2 hours back. That movie sucked. What a waste of time that was. And everybody talks about it like it's, the best thing. Oh, now, one movie that I saw twice in the movie theater back in the day, and I watched it again within the last year and still thought it was excellent, is Misery. I thought Misery was great, and it's not a horror movie. A horror movie is any creature or thing that can be killed by firearms and is not supernatural. That's not horror. That's just an inconvenience. That's like, hold on while I get my gun. I thought Misery was excellent. It also helps that I like James Caan a lot. So, there's that. So, I think I need more white. I ran out of it. What's Misery? The movie with the crazy lady. That's right, Kathy Bates. That's a great movie. It's got to feel great to hit somebody with a typewriter. Those movies when I was growing up in the early 80s that I never saw. I only saw snippets of them. And they're like, these forbidden movies. Cujo. Cujo was like, I remember being like 9, 10 years old. Like, oh, Cujo this, Cujo that, Cujo the other thing. Like, speaking of Steve, right? It's Stephen King, right? I think Cujo's Stephen King. I don't know that I've ever seen it all the way through, but. So which one do you recommend, Misery or the Xander Berkeley one? Watch the Xander Berkeley one first. It's unique. Misery's really good too, though. Yeah, the Xander Berkeley, you'll, especially if your girlfriend will watch with you. Find something that the girlfriend will watch with you. Sometimes it's hard to find. Trust me, I know. My wife is awesome, but she's not good for movies. She'll admit it. And I'm not a huge movie watcher, so it's not like it's a big loss, you know. I'd rather be doing this than watching a movie. Now, I wish there was more of those movies that had and there's been a fair number of them. I shouldn't say that. There's been like 4. Where you can like choose your own adventure. You know, Black Mirror did that one called Bandersnatch, which sucks. Um, and it's almost, if I remember correctly, it's almost like a horror movie. There's some creepy stuff in there, I think, but you know, it's not a horror movie. That would be better because that way you at least, you know, you get to watch it several times. You know, like, oh, let me try something different. You know, I really like that because you're engaged. You know, you're not apathetic. I've seen a couple of those. That one, there was a romantic comedy that was also on Netflix. It was better than Bandersnatch. Um, and there's been a couple other ones. It just depends on, like for kids and stuff like that. I think that's just a really good format. You know, do you want this character to do? And usually there's only 2 options: this or that. You know, it's not like which one of these 7 do you do because they've got to film the scenes that lead to that. But I wish there was more of that programming. I think I was talking about this the other day, or maybe I was talking about it with my daughter. But there was this video game, I think it was the other day. There was this video game that I wish they had made more of. And it was made by Rockstar Games, and it was called LA Noir. And it's set like in 1948, and you play this detective guy who's a ex-army veteran, and you have a partner, and you go around trying to solve these crimes. And it's really cool because when you go to the crime scenes and try to find clues, that's not that unique. There's other games that do that, but then you get to go visit people and interrogate them, and the interaction with the people, is they were filmed with a real person with the one of the suits with the little balls and stuff on there, so they like react like real people. And it's kind of cool trying to figure out if they're telling you the truth and stuff like that. It's really, I wish they had done more of that stuff, you know. And it's not as easy as you think it is. I mean, some of them is like, man, you know, you're trying to put everything together. It's pretty cool. Girlfriend and I watched this one Choose Your Own Adventure movie. It was like some romantic movie. I don't remember. I think the girl had to choose between 3 guys. Yep, it's probably the same one we watched. It was pretty decent. You know, it was pretty. It was you know, it was entertaining. L.A. Noir is the name of the game. Been out for a while, and it's got some action. It's got some shoot 'em up stuff you got to do, but the main thing is the interrogations. The interrogations are what makes the game really interesting, and it's not cut and dry. You're like, nah, this person sounds like a liar, and like, you know, and then based on whether you accuse them and what you ask them depends on what they do and how whether or not you solve the case. It's really pretty cool. Then you know, I like the games as opposed to watching TV because you're making choices. Watching TV, whether you watch it or not, it all turns out the same. You know, whether you watch a sporting event or not, it has no impact on you. Have no impact on it whatsoever. That's why we like to play games, right? That's why I like to play games. I was going to paint last night and I just didn't feel up to it. I decided to try to unlock a battleship. And which battleship was I trying to get? Oh, the Nevada in that stupid, what do you call that thing? World of Warships, Legends, or whatever. It's a stupid game, but it's something to do. I stayed up too late doing that. It's up to like 11 o'clock. I stay up a little bit longer. I can unlock the New Mexico. You know, that game wouldn't be worth a damn if it didn't have any sort of range estimation aspect to it. That's really what keeps me engaged in it. Like, okay, at that angle, I think it's going to be here. Obviously, the shells don't land exactly accurate either. There's some dispersion that could happen because of environmental factors that are out of your control. But it's a fun way to pass the time. By the time I got around to painting, it was like 9 o'clock. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to start at 9. I'm just going to get burned out. And of course, it's free. Some tricks may work on some people, but they don't work on all of us. I got a notification that there was a new expansion they were coming out. Do I have a good World War II sub movie? Well, I mean, there's only one, and that's Das Boot. It's kind of dated, but it's still kind of the gold standard. Pretty much everybody agrees that that's a great movie. I'm not a fan of Prochnow. That's really the only gripe I have about it. Is he didn't do anything for me. But they made a miniseries on something. Maybe it was on Amazon or European Amazon or something like that. And there's 2 versions of them. One of them is like 4 hours long. It's not a boring movie. And they made a series of Das Boot, but I heard it wasn't very good, which doesn't really surprise me. And I played plenty of sub simulators. It's just like I don't want to go after merchantmen. It's all about warships, man. I'm all like, if we're gonna play ships, man, I'm all about battleships and the stuff that they encounter. I'm big on that. Now, that's just from having that coffee table book that my dad had on the table. You know, the submarines are all fine and dandy, but I want to sink like, warships, not merchantmen. You know. Funny you said Tony was your Indian name. We have a friend we named Running with Cheeseburgers. Well, we don't have Indians here. They get sent over to the swamp and they get eaten by boa constrictors. I mean, although I say that just about every Anglo white person is 1/16 Cherokee. They always say that. Like, okay. What's your background? Well, I'm a Scots-Irish. Always a damn Scots-Irish, and they're always 1/16 Cherokee. Running with cheeseburgers, huh? If Columbus was going to China instead of India, and he thought he landed on China, would he have called these people Chinese? And then it would have stuck. Those guys aren't Chinese. We're watching the Pacific, and there's this motivational speaker, sergeant or lieutenant or whatever the hell he was, his Marine ship. They're getting ready to drop off on Guadalcanal, their first stop, and the motivational speech that this guy gives that belittles the Japanese as a race is just absolutely hilarious. It's really inappropriate, but it's what they did. And I was thinking, my daughter was laughing. I was like, how can you say such things? I said, well, back when we used to say things like that, we could win wars. Well, he said something horrible like yellow slant-eyed monkeys or something like that. I'm like, I don't understand where they got the whole Asians are yellow, because they're not. I mean, they're not even remotely. I mean, it's not even close. Like, you should have come up with something better than that. But yes, I'm sure that's the kind of stuff that they said. If you're getting ready to get shot at by them, you need to dehumanize them so you can take them out. Yeah, the dude likes to eat. I watched a little bit of the Pacific when my grandmother was watching. It didn't look as good as Band of Brothers. It's not. It hops around a lot. It's not as action packed. Um, Band of Brothers does a really good job of keeping the action tight. And we just finished watching it recently. It's not perfect. Some episodes are so damn good that it makes other ones seem boring, and they're not. Um, I think I like the Pacific more than the airplane one. The airplane one just, I don't know, we're only on episode 3 or 4 of the Pacific. Um, but they took a lot of liberties with it because there's some real characters and there's some real people that took place there, and they're using them as a, as a mixture of examples of many other people. Um, so what's the airplane? Oh, it's not that bad. Masters of the Air. It's not that bad. It's just it only focuses on the B-17 bombers. So there's not really much about fighter planes at all. Um, there's no other bombers, or it's a very super focused. And you could say Band of Brothers is just about paratroopers, but it did add some other elements, and they went to different places. It wasn't like they were either in the airfield or they were flying, and that's about it. It didn't really go anywhere else. It's not bad, but I'd say of the three, it's probably my least favorite one. Um, and I felt like Band of Brothers was not difficult to tell who was who. The airplane one, you start wearing masks and stuff like that, and you're like, which guy is that just got shot down? I don't even know if I liked him or not. Like, because so much of their face is hidden. Yeah, and I feel like Band of Brothers did a really good job of not committing that. And that's the thing that happens in a lot of movies where you've got people that have stuff on their face where you can't make out. Now, who exactly is that? Oh, that's Frank. You can't discern exactly who that is to see if you give a shit about him that he's dead now, or he was the asshole that deserved it. It's just difficult to sometimes tell. You know. Well, you've got that Greyhound. Have you seen Greyhound, the one that Tom Hanks is the destroyer captain? It's not very good, but there's a sub in there. Of course, the German sub can somehow break into the. He can talk to the people upstairs, to the people that are outside, and mock them and stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, that's dorky. Like, no. Um, the sub movies, World War II sub movies. I've seen The Enemy Below. I think it's a black and white movie with Kurt Jurgen and Robert Mitchum. I think that's the two people that are in it. It was okay. It's dated, but I don't like Robert Mitchum though. He's just like he doesn't want to be there, and I don't want him there. I mean, there's just some people you just don't connect with, you know. What other sub movie is there? World War II sub movie that I've seen. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of anything else. Good World War II fighter pilot movie. Watched all the World War II infantry focused ones I get my hands on as a kid, but stopped there. I can't think right off the bat. How about we how about we use our Google Food? And if I've seen any of them. You know, a good war movie for me is after I'm done watching it, do I want to read more about the subject? And if I do, then it's a good movie. Because that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to whet my appetite for real stuff that happened. World War II plane movies. Okay. Midway's terrible. God, I hate Midway. I'm talking about the new one. I haven't seen the old one in a long time. It might be okay. Tora is great. I mean, it's old. It's really good. It's really, really good. I was really surprised. Um, I meant to see Unbroken, but I haven't seen it. That's the one where the guys get captured and they're in a Japanese prison camp. The World War One Red Baron movie is incredible. You don't care about any of the characters, but the special effects are like second to none. It's really, really good. Um, I want to say I've seen Into the White. That's the one that has the ginger Harry Potter kid, and didn't think it was that good. Everybody likes to rip on Pearl Harbor, and you know Pearl Harbor has problems, but it's better than Midway. I really hated Midway, the new one. Memphis Belle. I saw it in the movie theater. I don't remember it. The one with Matthew Modine in it. Um, Battle of Britain. I saw Battle of Britain for the first time within the last 2 years and thought it was really strange. It was. It's a movie that it would never be done now because when it shows the Germans are all like it's just like it doesn't show them as evil or anything at all, and just kind of strange they would have done it that way. And there's this scene 2/3 of the way through the movie where there's this dog fighting, and there's no dialogue. It's just like this orchestra type movie that goes on like awkwardly long period of time. And I was like, you know, it just seemed kind of out of place. Tuskegee Airmen, I've not seen it. You like the old one? Yeah. Yeah, I like Tora because it's like, hey, we need a scene on a Japanese battleship. We don't have any left. Fuck it, we'll build one. I like stuff like that. Where there's like real props, like Ben-Hur and stuff. Where they got built like real freaking miniatures. I like that kind of stuff. We can appreciate that kind of stuff. Is it actually raining? Holy crap! It hasn't rained in like 2 months. Hallelujah! God be praised. Uh, Wolfhound. I don't know what that is. Red Tails. I haven't seen Red Tails. Blue Max. I've seen parts of it way back when. The Final Countdown. Remember that movie? Where the aircraft carrier goes back in time for the Pearl Harbor? Kirk Douglas and among other people. Operation Napoleon. I don't know what that is. I guess there's not that many movies. I would have thought there would have been more airplane movies. You loved Final Countdown as a kid. Yeah, I think we all did. That poor sort of. Well, there's only so many Phoenix. Wait, did they launch a Phoenix at it? Oh, the Zero is very maneuverable. Not 100 miles away, it's not. Whoops. It's funny, the Japanese had, in World War II, had some really advanced stuff. And they had some stuff that just sucked. Okay? The Zero was a great aircraft. The Zero was a great aircraft. The Japanese had several ships. I'm not necessarily talking the Yamato. I'm just talking about, they were advanced at like, gunfire and fighting at night and that kind of stuff. They had good destroyers. They had, obviously, their torpedoes were incredible. They had, good training. They valued training. Obviously when they started taking losses, they didn't have the manpower back up to be able to replace them easily. But, they valued training and they had some experienced folks. And the Navy had like pick of the litter. Just about everything the Navy had was either really good or decent. And, the Army got the shaft. I mean, the Army, I guess the aircraft, there was no air forces. Well, that's interesting. I've never thought about before. The United States there was not three branches. You had the Navy and then you had the Army. And then the Army Air Forces was part of the Army. Whereas the Germans did have three branches. Interesting. I never thought about that before. I guess the Japanese didn't have three branches either. Yeah, but anyway, so the Japanese Army stuff is, they'd have, machine guns that would jam. I guess their rifle was okay, but their light machine guns were really prone to jamming. Their tanks were trash. I mean, if the Italians and the Japanese tanks got into a fight, I'd say the Italian tanks are actually better. Japanese tanks are just trash. I don't know how the hell they got out of that and made freaking awesome cars nowadays. Bad sonar. I don't know that their sonar was bad, but it wasn't. What I've read is, or what I've heard is that it wasn't an honorable position. So they didn't put their best guys on it. They didn't. It's almost like they didn't feel like it was important, which is a problem when you're fighting somebody who's spitting out Gato class subs like they're sandwiches. So their depth charges didn't go deep enough either. We have 4 branches and maybe a 5th soon. What you talking about, Willis? Well, the 4th one's stupid. What the hell's the 5th one? I know. You tell me what you'd have to kill me. How about when we run one branch correctly, we can have another one? Space Force, yeah, dork at. Have we taken over this planet yet? No. Then don't worry about space. I'm just too. I'd be like, screw space. Let's find out what's at the bottom of our freaking oceans and see if there really is a kaiju. See if there's a Scottish kaiju. Ooh. No, there's all kinds of shit at the ocean. We don't have a clue, and it's right there. Drone force. Oh, God, I hate drones. I don't like aircraft carriers because they ruin battleships. Drones are going to ruin everything. Drones are going to ruin everything. Did it stop raining? Well, we got one sprinkle. Mother Nature's always on the rag. One form or the other. I gotta take a look now. Nope, still raining. Okay. And it's the good one. The one that doesn't all wash off. Yeah, the grass was suffering, that's for sure. It's all fun and games until I lose power, which shouldn't happen from just rain. All right, let's paint. Well, I should be done with this in about another 4 painting sessions. Hey, I round it up just to be safe. Yeah, I think of World War II submarines, and I just think of the Germans. And I know that the Americans probably produced more submarines than the Germans, and shut the Japanese down a hell of a lot better than the Germans shut down the British. One of the first models that I had was a Japanese submarine, the I-400 class, and I was young enough that I got my dad to build it for me. Um, I don't remember what it was. I want to say it was a tester's model, which means it would have been in Italy or something like that. I don't know. It was a long time ago. This would have been, I'm trying to think what house we were in. If it wasn't the late 70s, it was really early into the 80s. U-boats aren't that interesting because they're shut down so fast. Are they? 39 to 42. You could say the U.S. subs aren't that interesting because they were unstoppable. I wonder what the loss rate was for U.S. submariners. It probably wasn't really high. It's not to downplay their importance or anything like that, but what would have happened if the U.S. submariners had to fight the British? You know, or the Germans had to fight the Japanese. Germans had to fight Japanese, probably would have gone the same way or in the same direction. All right, now I've got to look that up. Now I've got to look that up. Ours, my Google Foo question for the moment is going to be: how many U.S. subs made in World War II versus Germans? I know the Japanese escort ships sucked. How did the Germans and the... Okay, is this on Reddit? Because Reddit's full of bullshit. Yes, it is. There's a lot of bullshit on the internet, and Reddit's a big place for it. German subs generally did not have radars, while the U.S. subs typically carried 2, an air search radar and a surface search radar. Germans built their submarines with an eye to good diving performance and surface handling. German submarines were remarkably deep diving for their area, 600 plus foot test depth compared to 300 for a Gato or 400 for a Balau. The better This better dive performance gave German submarines a better chance of evading detection by hydrophones and attack depth charges. It's important to note that U-boats were not designed or even initially equipped to exploit thermal layers. The U-boat's exceptional depth performance had nothing to do with diving beneath the layers. Indeed, pre-war U-boat designers didn't even know thermal layers existed, much less that they could confound active sonar. Germans also built their subs to be handy on the surface. German doctrine called for submarines to be used almost like torpedo boats when possible. Commanders are supposed to make surfaced nighttime attacks on convoys using torpedoes. Since the U-boats were faster on the surface, they could better prosecute an attack than they could be submerged. Okay, well, I don't think that U-boats were faster than U.S. submarines. I'm pretty sure, if I had to guess, the Gato is faster than a Type 7 or a Type 9 by a couple of knots. It's not like U.S. subs were slow. Um, and they both had bad magnetic torpedoes. And the German subs were a lot smaller. Gotta get going. Have some crap I have to finish writing. I think a Gato can go 20 knots with my sub-sim. Sounds about right. Or close to it. Yeah, I'd say the Gatos are faster by a couple knots. Certainly have more range. Not that the German subs had that terrible range, but I mean, U.S. subs had some crazy ass ranges. Okay, where did we leave off? Oh, we're painting these silly things. That's how you learn things. You look things up. This part of the pipe down here is not even connected to it. Whoops. Hey, that's just what the sculptor wanted. That's how he decided to build this thing. We're just playing color in the numbers with no numbers. And if this one's a slightly different color, even better. These pipes that bring the rainwater from the roof. It's got to be what these things are. and they are in bad shape. Well, there's no roof for starters. I guess it doesn't really matter what bad shape it is. Oh, they'll never bring water off the roof. Well, there's no roof to bring water off of. It'd be gone. And the roof done been messed up. Exactly. Now we'll go back to this first part. Let's add a little bit of white to this. Now, where'd everybody go? Well, I don't have to write anything. I'd rather do manual labor than write stuff down. Still scarred from papers in college, and I've been in college years, decades actually. Definitely I wasn't one of those people like, oh man, I don't want to go out in the real world. I want to get another degree. No, I don't want any more busy work. We're done with busy work. Busy works for people that aren't busy. The question is going to be is what color we're going to do these shutters. And it's going to be some other pastel color. Hold on one second. All right. We're probably going to stop in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and do something else since everybody done left. But getting on here and doing something is better than nothing. Maybe I can do the shutters. Let's see. This is a yellow building on the inside. I'd say do yellow shutters, but then it becomes too blue, green, yellow, too hokey. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a color that's similar to the green, but not quite. And I'm going to use this dark yellow color, which is kind of an unattractive color. And we'll see where this takes us. Maybe the Japanese uniform, wherever the hell that one is. It's an ugly ass color like this too. Ugly ass color. You ugly ass color, you. I think it's a little bit more bright than this one. Oh, and it has no top on this one. Okay. Well, that's what we're going to go with. If we end up not liking how it looks, we'll just repaint it. We got shutters on this window, and then shutters up here and shutters up there. Okay. So let's get some of this black out here. I know I can mix brown with this, but for the sake of consistency, I'm going to use black on this as well. Because I kind of want it to look charred like. Looks like there's something left there. It might have been part of a shutter or something. So we'll paint it appropriately. And then we'll go back to this core color. It would make sense that the yellow building is on the inside, has yellow shutters. Of course, the people outside wouldn't know that. But maybe the people that were in there said, hey, it'd be nice to have this yellowness outside too. This color probably gets confused a lot as the pens are yellow or dunkelgelb. Well, it's called dark yellow. Well, the name of the color doesn't mean anything. I mean, it tells you it's not going to be blue. It's got to be some form of yellow, but just because it's called dark yellow doesn't mean it's armor dark yellow, which is what they used to call the poly S paint. Used to be for the Germans. Used to be called armor dark yellow. And we do want this to look like it's in bad shape, because it kind of is. These row houses took quite a few direct hits. Now I'm going to do something different. Instead of mixing white into this, I'm going to mix some of this beige color. See what happens. Yeah, it didn't look bad. Yeah, if it looks kind of sloppy, well, the shutters do look kind of sloppy. Paint like that, like there's part of there's something left of that, but not really anything at all. Now, I'm going to add the white. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and shut this one down for night. You know, here almost 2 hours. And I've got to do some touch-ups, and this is pretty much, we're going to bring the brick color up some more, but this is pretty much about where it needs to be. So we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.